everybody! Today we are talking about the Vale at Pea Ridge. Hi everybody, welcome to Jody Genealogy, where the past comes alive. And every story has a deeper meaning. Before there were all these ghosts, there was phantom warfare. There were sounds of musket fire, cannon blasts, and marching drums that were frequently reported late into the night, despite the park being closed to the public. This was deep into the history in this territory. History books call it the Gettysburg of the West, but for some men trapped in the frozen woods of northwest Arkansas, in March of 1862, the Battle of Pea Ridge wasn't just a tactical victory, it was literally a nightmare. Here are the most shocking points of the battle that broke the South's hold on the frontier. Imagine being in the army of 16,000 men, the largest Confederate force ever forced into the West. And your general was literally too sick to even ride a horse. Earl Van Dorn was suffering from fever so intense that he had to be carried away, while his men were left there freezing. He was delirious, barking orders from a cot that led his army straight into destruction. The Confederates didn't just march, they actually vanished. Van Dorn ordered a 3-day forced march through a blinding sleet storm. To move faster, he made a fatal horror movie mistake. He left his supply wagons behind. Oh my goodness. By the time the battle started, his soldiers hadn't even eaten for 48 hours and were suffering from extreme hypothermia. They weren't an army anymore. They were a legion of starving men, disappearing into a snowstorm. Among the Confederate ranks were nearly 1,000 Cherokee soldiers. In the chaos of all this woods and nearby Leetown, after the smoke had cleared, the Union soldiers found their fallen comrades. They had been mutilated, and the psychological terror this sent through the northern ranks was so great that it turned the Ozarks into a lawless wasteland for years. In the span of just 20 minutes, the entire Confederate leadership was completely wiped out. General Ben McClellan, the legendary Texas Ranger, rode out into the scouts line wearing a distinct black velvet suit. Gone. His second in command was James McClintock, charged to recover him. Gone. The men were left leaderless, wandering the woods, while their commanders lay cold in the dirt. On the second day, the Union General Samuel Curtis didn't just fight, he experimented. He lined up his cannons in a massive mile-wide arc and unleashed the heaviest artillery bombardment ever to be seen in the Wild Wild West. For 2 hours, the Ozark Hills literally shook. The Confederates, out of ammunition and starving, had to stand there and take it. The ones that were left fled the mountains. Pea Ridge never quite healed. Thousands of men were buried in the woods in unmarked trenches, a silent reminder of the 3 days of the Ozarks that were turned into a graveyard. We're going to be talking about Ghost of Pea Ridge in Arkansas. Let's take a dive back into the Ozarks. Now, this story was suggested by my good friend Jimbo. So if you're watching Jimbo, hi. He really likes the Civil War stuff. So we're going to dive into that time zone back in history in Arkansas. If you're fascinated by family roots and untold history and the mysteries that shaped the real lives, you are in the right place. Here we are going to deep dive into genealogy and uncover the past. To unravel the past, creepy stories, true crime. I like it all. I like all history. And even the chilling real-life mysteries of true crime. So buckle up. Let's grab a cup of coffee, or in my case, an energy drink, and let's explore some stories. I really like the ghost stories. That's exciting to me. That's exciting! In the northwest corner of the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas, rises into a series of jagged limestone ridges and dense oak thickets. Today, it's a national military park, a place of joggers and bird watchers and school trips. But in March of 1862, it's a site of the Battle of Pea Ridge. Ooh, I like battlefields. I like going to them. It's interesting and definitely makes me very thankful. Over 2 days, 26,000 men tore into each other in freezing sleet storms. When it was over, the land of the big mountain was a landscape of frozen blood and broken wood. For some, this battle never ended. The locals call them the Gray Watch, and if you stay long enough, after the sun dips below the big mountains, you might realize you aren't as lone. Park map would suggest. So a couple years ago, there was a story of a man. I'm gonna get comfy for this. And his name was Marcus, and he has this story where he says he was working at the night shift as a security contractor. He was working near the park's western boundary line. He wasn't a believer in the supernatural at all, so he's not one to be looking for ghosts like I would be. I would take special cameras and lenses, and I'm always looking for ghosts because that's fun. But Marcus, he's not really a believer. He's a man of checklists, and he has his flashlights, and he's keeping the place secure. And then at 3 in the morning, because that's when everything weird happens, is at 3 in the morning, I mean, for me anyway. Weird stuff always happens at 3 a.m. for me. The fog was so thick that you couldn't cut it with a bayonet. And he had saw a man standing about 50 yards in the bush. He was wearing a long, heavy coat, and it looked like of wool. And if you've ever looked at the old battlefield uniforms, they were made of really heavy wool. Marcus thought it was a trespasser, or maybe trespasser. He thought it was a trespasser, or maybe a hunter or something like that. So, Marcus does his thing where he just calls out and says, "Hey, the park is closed. And I need you to step into the light because, that's freaky when somebody's hiding in the bushes in the dark." Yeah, I would say so. Well, this man, he didn't move. He just stood there staring at the ground. He clicked his flashlight and the beam hit him square in the chest. That would freak me out. Here's the thing. The light from the flashlight actually went through him. Ugh. Oh boy, I'm getting a little nervous. He said he couldn't see the oak tree behind him, as if they were made of smoke. Oh, this is creepy. He said he could see his face clearly, and he looked to be about 19 years old, which was about the time that people went into the war for the boys. His eyes were wide, and he was holding a rifle. And he said it was one of the old kind of rifles from way, way back. And he thought he had actually mouthed the word water. And then he just folded back into the fog like he was never there before. Now, if that's not creepy, I don't know what is, but I'm one of those people like, I want to know who it was. Is he in the water still? Was he in the water? Does he need a drink of water? Oh my goodness. And then there was another story. Now, to understand the hauntings, you have to kind of dive back into the history itself. Imagine a battlefield. There's probably a lot of men needing assistance. There's hospitals where men are taken to try to be fixed up. The ground itself has seen a lot of trauma, and so has the city. At the heart of the park sits Elkhorn Tavern, and during the fight, it became a makeshift hospital. Imagine the floors slick with blood. Imagine the screams of men undergoing amputations without any anesthesia whatsoever, while the building literally shook from cannon fire all at the same time. This wasn't a place of healing. This was a triage of pain and transition, and a lot of death going on. There was a surgeon who was at Elkhorn. He had a blood-stained apron. And he has been seen standing in the second-story window of the tavern long after the doors are locked, but the most chilling accounts come from the phantom picket. In the 1990s, a group of hikers reported seeing a line of men in gray uniforms marching the perfect silence across the Telegraph Road. They didn't make no sound. No clicking of gear, no breathing, just the visual of 13 men moving through the trees. When the lead hiker waved, the entire line stopped. They turned their heads all in unison. I'm like, oh, that'd be so freaky. A whole line of men and they're all looking at me. They stared at the hikers for 5 seconds and then vanished. All 30 of them simultaneously, all gone, just poof. What? Paranormal investigators have a theory of Pea Ridge. It's called the stone tape theory. The idea is that minerals of the earth, specifically the limestone and the iron-rich soil of the Ozarks, can record high emotional events. And a lot of history happened. A lot of people died violently. That's gonna sure stir up some ghosts for sure. Just saying. The Battle of Pea Ridge was concentrated bursts of terror, of agony, of adrenaline. Thousands of young men miles from home dying in frozen wilderness. Some believe the ground itself is a DVR. Oh my goodness, I need a sip. Playing back the last moments of those men whenever the atmospheric conditions are just right. Oh my, I wouldn't want to go there on a foggy night. But try telling that to people who have been touched. The reports of visitors feeling a hand on their shoulder near the mound of the dead. Ooh, I literally just got the chills. Others find mini balls just floating around, orbs of light. People are finding little bullets in the area. Or they just kind of appear in their pockets? Well, I mean, really? I don't know. Is that true? As if a ghost was trying to return the lead that had killed them. Oh, that's a weird story. Now, Pea Ridge isn't just a park, it's a cemetery without headstones. Whether you believe in ghosts or just the power of memory, there is no denying the weight of the air of Elkhorn Tavern, the Confederate ghost of Pea Ridge. He isn't a monster. He isn't there to scare you. He's just a boy far from home, waiting for the war to end that the rest of us have already forgotten. Except for us, like history buffs. Next time you're in Arkansas, take a drive through the ridge. Turn off your headlights, listen to the wind, and if you see a flicker of gray in the trees, leave a little water behind. They're still thirsty. I'm your host, Jody Genealogy, and until next time, we explore the borders of the unknown, the spooky stories. Make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment afterwards. It always helps. And if you would like to share this out too, that would be awesome. And I'll be here uncovering the past one story at a time. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind. Bye everybody, love ya.
Where